Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope you all are doing amazing. I trust that you're enjoying the weather. It's like it's in the past 24 hours, my daughter and I keep saying this sentence to each other, like, is it hot? Is the heat on too high? Because the weather just changed instantly. And before you know it, it's really, really nice to be able to like go outside, get a little bit of a break. Fun fact, when all of these storms was happening, I was trying to order myself like this long winter coat. I always had like a 3/4 and I wanted to the ankle. So I liked two jackets, so I ordered both of them, but they never came. And now all of a sudden, when I tried to like stop the charge or whatever, because it was like over 6 weeks ago, they messaged me today and they're like, "Oh, we have a problem at the vendor and manufacturer or whatever." And I was like, "Do you know it's like 60 degrees outside, 56? Like, what is somebody doing with a long jacket?" So, anyways, so I'm really excited about today's topic. It's generally a hot question that I got asked so many times in different ways. And I want to just say is that all of these questions, I'm so really grateful that they come my way and I get to answer and to help you because when you get the information from the right place, you have good steps in front of you and it just leads you towards a better place literally instantly within this video. So let's jump in. Today's topic is tax deductions therapists often overlook and how to track them. So honestly, part of business is knowing what we could spend and what we cannot spend. And I want to begin this topic and share a story. When we're spending around things that are not our norm, we're already built in where we think something might be wrong. So meaning you might be spending on coaching, you might be spending on an accountant, you might be spending on marketing, things where it's like told you should be like in your arsenal of skills that you need to know. But realistically, if you look back in your future, you went to school to be a therapist, right? A lot of your training is around that. And what's actually happening in business, we have to learn. And I remember when I was in this spot, learning what's okay to spend, what's not okay. And then it's like, oh, that's a lot of money. Everything is a lot of money until you think differently and you see it in a different light. So, why does taxes feel so stressful? When we think it's stressful, it's going to be stressful, but you're unsure what really counts as a deduction. You're afraid that you're doing something wrong and you're overwhelmed by the financial terminology. My business years ago was really started because I wanted to fill the gap on that disconnect between year-end taxes and what that financial terminology actually, I would call it financial jargon of what we talk about in the accounting and tax industry. And the rest of you are just trying to get with it. But the goal isn't perfection, the goal is clarity and understanding. So, what I want you to think about is spend on what moves the business forward. How do you know if you make the right decision? It's the best educated decision you can make at the time. There's no magic wand in business. There's no magic way to say that's going to work for sure. However, there are certain things that do work for sure, but in terms of spending and, testing and all of these things around business, it does take time to learn your business model. It also comes to with the caveat of understanding your ideal client and things of that nature. So a simple way to think about deductions is instead of memorizing rules, think in categories. If any expenses support your work as a therapist, they qualify as a deduction. Most deductions fall into a few main groups. And if you just open your tax return, okay, and you see Schedule C because you're itemizing on Schedule C, if you don't have an entity like an S corp, you're going to see the categories that we use. So there's your main stage, like literally right there in your hands to see what areas are deductible. But I also want to say this, stop worrying what's in deductibles, like what's in that possibilities. Let's focus more onto what we want to create in our business and where we want to go. So let's take that shift. Let's not worry that we can get deductions and get something back. Let's focus on the shift of what's actually going to move the needle forward of where our business is going. Running your practice. So category one, if the supports the daily foundation of practice, it usually belongs in some type of rent or therapy space, furniture and utilities, therapy supplies, and printing administrative materials. This is like a really basic list, but use each category and then make it your own. Okay, technology and tools, right? You have all these apps that you use. You have scheduling platforms, telehealth software like Zoom, and then there's one specifics to your field that are more, approved with how, to work with those practice management tools. They're recurring and they're often, they're repetitive. So these are the things of the nature that you want to take care, that you want to keep in mind. Now, in the app of school, we have a tool where if you don't have a bookkeeping system, this tool was built for those people who are in transit of that. And I'd like you to buy that because it's going to keep you with the rules of tax from me on how that tool is built. And in terms of knowing if you're ready for tax purposes, use that tool. If you can't find it, feel free to send a message and we'll guide you there. And if you want to take it a little bit further, that spreadsheet, just make another copy and then dive deeper into where you want to go. But keep the spreadsheet as is for tax purposes. Professional development, training certifications, professional conferences, clinical workshops, professional memberships. Investing in your growth is also deductible. But again, do the memberships, do the workshops, do the conferences, do the trainings because it supports where you want to go, not just because it's deductible. And I have a story. So, a client of mine, when we first began, we were looking at her credit card. She was really upset around her credit card balances. And what we saw, what was on there, was that it was charges around growth. And she was buying them because they were deductible, but she never really did anything with them. So it was something like she wanted to do, but she really physically had no time. She just had a baby. And over time, what ended up happening was it was really where she wanted to go in business, but she didn't really have that direction of a business plan to help her get there to utilize it into the field. So it just stayed with something that she was like paying off on a credit card. So when you start to connect the dots on why you're really spending, you really realize it has nothing to do with taxes. There's nothing to do with really overspending. It's really like we're not connecting the dots with ourselves on our business plan and really where we want to go. So this morning I started off early. I have older kids, and now with older kids, parenting is a little bit different. So I have a support coach of what I do to help me grow as a parent. Uh, and things, to learn that might be are not easy to work with or whatever. And I did it really early this morning. And I woke up, did what I had to do before, so I was ready for the call, and that it's spaced out from the day. So it was a decision that I made to spend on this so that I can improve my parenting, be there for my children, and some of the curves that come along the way with that. But it was an intentional spend. It wasn't just a thing of like, oh, that sounds good because it's tax deductible. And it's not because it's parenting. The next one, marketing. If you spend money to help clients find you, it's going to qualify. So any type of marketing, branding, social media, advertising, it helps grows your practice. It's moving the needle forward. Professional support, accountant, bookkeepers. Hello, we're here to help you. Business consultants and legal support. These are all compliance and totally on board. So why did deductions get missed? The reasons they get missed is because expenses aren't categorized, doing bank reconciliations, hence ideally, I always say having bookkeeping is ideal, which we do have do it for you bookkeeping systems, which I encourage you to get on a call, use the app, use the link there so that we can talk more about it. However, if you want to keep it internal for a little bit still, in the school app, we have the tool around bookkeeping. It's not a long-term solution, but it's a way to keep you with rules and boundaries around the area. So lots of times people say they'll wait till tax season. It's not the right time. I'm not ready. Instead of estimating your life, instead of saying you're not ready, there's never a right time. But you have to start before you're ready. You already made the decision to be in this business, and the things that come along with it are not waiting. A simple habit that helps. Instead of waiting until the season, trying a monthly routine. I personally have to have a daily routine, so switch this accordingly to how you like it. I don't like when things are at a high volume, but depending on where you're at is how you can take this. Reviewing expenses, and this is like the bare minimum of what doing. So an hour per month is like really, this is like the bare minimum, if not like it's the minimum standard. So I want you to reflect on yourself. Which of these categories am I already spending in? Are those currently being tracked? Do I not even have a bookkeeping system? What small changes can help me stay organized this year? Just take one of these questions and start to reflect onto it. So financial clarity begins when you understand where your money is actually going. And I have to tell you, because I know where my money is going, things like Starbucks, I get to buy those parenting phone calls, things of that nature that support me also and my family. This morning, I happened to have been after that. I was at an important doctor's office, and a specialist is more than a regular copay. And these are just small expenses. There's big things, other things, obviously, that I spend on it in business. And I say this to say is that when you do it with intention of where you're going, it's an investment, and the ROI is just something phenomenal to benefit from. And the people that you get to help along the way is the biggest magical dream of it all. Because we got into this business to help others, and we all have a gift. So I invite you for a call with me so that we can get the clarity that you need. If there's something else that that's on your mind that you would like to talk to me about, but I encourage you to scan the QR code, stay with me through this, and also just think about this is that the more we master money, the better that money is going to take care of you. If you take care of money, money is going to take care of you. If you're afraid of something, it's going to stay afraid of you. Let's put fear into the passenger seat or even into the back seat. And when it gets loud, let's bring down the volume. We bring down the volume and say, whew, whew, I got this. I look forward to seeing you on the call. Please take that leap with me so that I can help you. And any questions along the way, I look forward to having you. Thank you for being in the groups, and thank you for following me and trusting me as your leader. I cannot wait to help you more, and I look forward to talking to you soon.